Hello, good morning. My name is Kate and I am the Children and Families Officer here at CLDF and the British Liver Trust. I wanted to spend a couple of minutes this morning talking about an issue that many parents contact us about for support. And that issue is a really big one called pruritus or severe itching. Something that happens in lots of liver diseases in children, but can be particularly prevalent and distressing in a couple. And one of those is PFIC. And if you're a PFIC parent or carer, you will understand all too much about this. What I wanted to do today was to give you the message that you are very much not alone in dealing with this very difficult symptom of liver disease, and to share with you some hints and tips that we have gathered from other family members who have experienced the same thing with their child and wanted to put together something that might help you too. One of the things that can be particularly distressing about pruritus, as with many different symptoms in liver disease, is that it can be invisible to others. So one of the reasons many families do contact us about it is when itching or pruritus affects the child's schooling. So because itching often seems to be worse at nighttime, that can lead to disrupted sleep, and children can often find school the next day really quite challenging and hard on the lack of sleep, as we all know. So good communication with the school, and that is really essential, particularly when it comes to key times like exams. There are special considerations that can be taken into account. There are things that we can implement alongside the school to help manage that. It's really important that you and your child don't sit at home suffering through it alone and then sending your child off to school absolutely exhausted because they've been up half the night itching and feeling really uncomfortable with that. We want the school to know that so that they can help. Children can often feel quite self-conscious if they're wearing bandages or items on their skin to stop them from scratching directly with their nails. So again, anything like that is maybe causing your child extra distress. Don't have a magic wand for the actual pruritus. That's something that we try and work with our clinical and medical colleagues on, who have access to a range of creams and ointments and medications to try and help manage that. But we kind of come in off the back of that and provide that holistic emotional support around how does that actually feel for the child when they're going into school or they're trying to manage their activities. What can be put into place to help them with that? So do not sit alone at home. Do make contact with us and we'll see what we can do to make things a little bit easier there. Some common hints and tricks can be quite helpful. So things like keeping your house at a cool temperature, that's really key. And pruritus does not like, or rather I should say it does like heat, and that does increase the itching sensation. So keeping your house nice and cool. It is expensive, but where possible, dressing your child in 100% cotton, a really breathable fabric, can make a huge difference. Those synthetic fibres can be really, really difficult and not pleasant on the skin. It doesn't allow the skin to breathe, so the itch gets really a lot worse. So 100% cotton where possible. And again, if that's something that you're struggling with financially, because we know that's expensive, you get in touch, because there are things that we can tap into and see what you might be eligible for and what we can help with. Often itching can be worse at nighttime, which can be really distressing for the whole family. And again, whilst we don't have a magic wand, I think it's just important to acknowledge that we see many children and families through clinics and through feeding back to us who really don't get any consistent sleep at nighttime. It's so broken, and that's very, very difficult. So lots of taking care of yourself as a parent or a carer. Please come along and join one of our wellbeing groups where we look at coping strategies for caring for a child with liver disease and looking at that constant need for care, applying ointments, being up in the night, broken sleep. These are all really common themes of discussion. So please do come along and access that support. Some really simple ideas: keeping your child's nails short so that although they still will be itching, we don't expect children not to itch, but keeping your child's nails short. In order to relieve the itching sensation, try not to use their nails, but encouraging them to use different parts of their hands, so maybe their knuckles or this area here, so they've got the feeling of pressure on the itch, which will initially relieve it. And it's much preferable to long nails, which can carry, as we know, in children, all sorts under their nails. And if it's broken skin, then that can lead to infection. You have enough on your plate to deal with without introducing that as well. Cool baths can be really helpful, especially as we head towards those warmer temperatures, but make sure it's not filled with bath bombs or bubble bath, which can really irritate sensitive skin. If it's possible, in a particularly severe attack of itching or pruritus, you can step outside into the cool air. That can be really helpful. It kind of works two ways. The sensation of cool air will automatically help reduce that intense itching sensation, because the skin also gets really hot and warm when the child has been itching. But also it provides a form of distraction. And that's really key with all aspects of a child's medical condition. Distraction can be really helpful. So going outside and feeling the air in your face, popping on a favorite TV program, making a snack together, reading a book, listening to an audio book, playing a game of snakes and ladders, anything that can take your child's mind off it for a little while until the sensation calms down. As I say, your child's medical team will be looking at anything that they can do to help try and manage the symptoms, along with creams and ointments and medications. We often hear from parents that ointments or creams that are allowed to be stored in the fridge to come out at a cool temperature, that can be really soothing on a child's hot feeling skin in the middle of the night. It can be really difficult if your child is young and can't tell you what's wrong, what's itching and what's sore, and that can be really difficult and quite stressful as a parent. So again, we encourage you just to get in touch, have that one-to-one support. We're here to offload too. We do understand. And my main message really is that you are not alone. So many of our families who have a child with liver disease, and specifically PFIC, this is something that really does rule their lives a lot of the time. And we can bring you together, share your hints and tips as to what works, what doesn't work, and just help you get through that. If your child's a little bit older, we've got some lovely support groups that they can join, both online and through social media, and with our young persons officer Louise, and that can be really helpful for them as well, to share some hints and tips with each other about how they manage at school and when their pruritus is particularly bad. No question too small, no question too silly. Please do get in touch. We're here to help. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.